LASSIB, and I think I have touched upon it quite a bit. And without further ado, till Shekhar is moving on with the presentation, I'll quick a brief introduction to Shekhar. His skills and expertise are very vast, and we will try and summarize all his experience in a brief minute for you to understand his background. So Chandrasekhar Padmasola, Shekhar in short, comes with over 26 years of wide industry experience. He plays the role of Chief Operating Officer at Synergy Computer Solutions, which is an IT service company headquartered in the USA. Over the last 15 years, he has been engaged in several assignments where businesses were required to be built from concept to reality, which essentially meant zero to profit, right? At Synergy, since 2004, Shekhar heads operations in India and has been playing a key role in building the offshore services capabilities. Shekhar has been involved in strategizing for building up effective processes, protocols, practices, talent, leadership for a successful on-site offshore model, which can deliver quality products to the customers on time and within budget. Previously at Sunwatch France, Shekhar provided leadership for setting up an organization and developing a new market for a new product, concept to profitability again. That included nurturing a fundraising activity through International Finance Corporation, a World Bank member. With the experience of developing a unique business model, Shekhar brings with him strong insight to strategic management. He is a postgraduate in management with specialization in marketing from IMA CME India. Shekhar believes in being an earnest and penchant learner, out-of-the-box thinker, passion to dive deep in whatever being pursued, and striking a balance between extremes. He is also a certified process professional certified by the BP Group. So thank you so much, Shekhar, for being here with us. And with that, I will hand over the presentation to you. Before I do that, quick, housekeeping rules. As you can see on your screen, the total webinar is about 45 minutes with 30 minutes of presentation time and about 15 minutes for Q&A. We will try and reserve the question and answers right towards the end so that we do not interrupt, the presenter, and we are hoping to finish within time. So if you have a question, we request you to send that question via the chat window on your screen, and just send that question on the on the chat, and we will be recording all the questions as they come in. These questions will be posed to Shekhar towards the end of the webinar. So if your question is not answered, please feel free to, drop in a note to the coordinator, which is Varun Khare, contact@lassib.org, and his details are, also available. And the meeting invite that would have come to you also came from his ID. So feel free to, reach out to us, share your feedback, and we look forward to, having a very interactive session. So with that, Shekhar, thanks again for joining, and I hand over the presentation to you.
Thanks, Shilpa. Hi, everyone. This is Chandrasekhar. At the outset, I'm very glad to be with you all today. And my sincere thanks to LASSIB for this opportunity, for this beautiful session on business process management. So let me be very clear about the learning objective of this session. The learning objective is to primarily know the basic BPM concepts and how they can be applied to today's bottlenecks in process management. Now, talking about that, we like to set the backdrop to the session. In today's world, every player has so many challenges. And one of those challenges is a constant challenge is a price competition. And in the price competition, it's always good, and the first logical step is to see how you can decrease each dollar in the price that the customers pay. But it is a never-ending exercise. If it has to be a never-ending exercise, then it is eroding your profits. So there is a certain limit, or beyond that limit. It is not just decreasing the price, but we have to look inwards. And when we say inwards, it's primarily we are talking about the operational efficiency. So how well and how efficiently are we running our operations, and how well we can optimize these operations. This is the simple goal, and a single goal which can actually save $1 and every dollar that is saved is a dollar earned. So if that is the principle behind that, then it just makes sense to look at how we can optimize the operational efficiency. And when you talk about optimizing the operational efficiency, we need to look at the breadth of the operations. The breadth of the operations always is the process. And if it is the breadth, then the key is to see how we can make our process management environment agile. When we say agile, it means many things to many people, but let's do a quick agility check for all the members here and see what we really mean by agility. So agility check, first question, is our present state of processes enabling us to implement changes in the processes on the fly? If that is happening, then it is really good. But how many times we would be able to make the changes in the processes on the fly? And is our present state of processes enabling us to measure process efficiency in terms of time, cost, whatever? And are this data available online in real time whenever required by the team members? And more often than not, if it is not available, it is a big threat to agility of the process environment. Is it enabling us to easily dive deep into any task, even if it is, say, 10,000 tasks every month in a particular process? Are we able to dive deep to a particular task and see what is the stage of that task in real time? And is it that our present state of processes enabling process workers to collaborate online among themselves so that they can successfully take a task forward to completion? Is it allowing the easy comments visible all through the process time when the task is being processed? These are state of processes enabling role-based views, reports, status updates. When we say role-based views, we're definitely talking about a scenario where you have one single great Excel sheet with all the components and all the elements in it, but definitely it is not, there is so much of additional information or unnecessary information when it comes to role 1 and role 2. It is a one single sheet for everybody, so it is definitely not customized to each role. For example, what we're talking about, if a role administrator, a first guy who receives a task in the process, his view can be just showing the kind of things related to his task. But a manager in the process would like to have a different view of the report about 10 such people who are handling the task at different levels. So are these processes today allowing us to have role-based views? Are they allowing or enabling more seamlessness through easy approvals, reviews, rework, even on the move? Or is it common that we come across times when we say, yeah, we have sent an email to a particular person for approval and then it is waiting for him to come back from leave? So if these are the kind of situations and this is the kind of issues that we still face, then definitely the agility is not there in the organization, in specific with process environment. So out of these 6 questions, if any of your answers is no, or even one, then definitely this session is for you. I'm sure it is going to be very useful. All right. The key question now, if we want to make agile our process environment, then first let's address the present bottlenecks that are there in the process management area, and also find possible solutions in a BPM way. So we have deliberately structured the session in such a way that we don't talk about theory and BPM, but address about 6 basic bottlenecks that we face today in the process management space, and see how BPM can be applied for each of these bottleneck situations. So let's quickly go through the bottlenecks. But before that, let's see quickly how the process transformation evolution has taken place in the past. Right from the beginning, in the beginning, we have heard of total quality management. Slowly in 70s and 80s, the concepts of business process improvement, business process reengineering, and then later on in Six Sigma, Lean, and business process management, and then off late we keep hearing about outside-in approaches. So whatever, the evolution is very, very natural, and in this evolution, one common pattern that we have seen is all these models have been moving away from inside out, which was initially the stage, to outside in. So when they are moving towards outside in, then that means there is something over there about outside in concept, and we will talk about it as we go in this presentation. So this, in the backdrop of keeping that in mind, that this is the evolution, let's get to the bottleneck number one that we face in the organization. Today in organizations, silo culture is on the rise, and silo culture is definitely disruptive to the work. And that happens basically because the organizations are built vertically. Each department in the organization is built vertically from bottom to top, bottom to top. But actually, if you see the processes, they are not moving vertically. They are always moving across these rigid structures. So definitely that means there is a conflict of interest. You want to work vertically, but there's a work that is cutting across. So this is the actual problem, bottleneck number one in organizations today. And what's the solution for this? The solution is, the only way is the matrix organization. When we say matrix organization, like the way we define a project team in organizations, when a temporary project is up, and similarly for a process team, we have to formalize aspects like identifying the people in the process, allocating the KRAs, and defining their roles, like whether it be process head, process admin, process manager, process supervisor, process participant. These roles have to be defined and KRAs have to be given, and then it is a proper team structure which have to be a part of the organization. And definitely these are the people who will drive the process, but at the same time they are going to report to two different managers. One, a department head or a department manager, and second, it is the process head or the process manager, whoever the process owner, who would be their executive manager. And the manager in the department is basically the functional manager, is the reporting manager, is the functional manager. So you have one functional manager, one executive manager always, but both the managers have to be involved in the performance appraisal system so that there is a proper accountability built in the system. So if this is a scenario where every single individual is going to have two or multiple bosses, then the future is all about collaboration, because when two or three people together are talking about the same common objectives, the collaboration is expected to be very, very high, and that is the new buzzword or the new breath in the organization today. So this is one solution which will definitely take away that problem of bottleneck number one. Let's look at bottleneck number two. In bottleneck number two, present system does not enable drastic gains. Process improvement methods are largely used only for marginal gains, and which is what it is. And the solution is to identify the points of failure in a process. This is a new lingo, and let's quickly understand what are these points of failure in a BPM way. First thing is, causes of work are often the POF, point of failure. That means one which causes work can itself be a point of failure. And another good point is less the number of points of failure in a process, more efficient can be the process. And BPM enables always, or more often than not, drastic improvements, sometimes even with radical changes using BPR or CEM or outside-in concepts. With these concepts primarily in place, I think we need to definitely understand one thing sure. BPM is not a technology or anything else, but it's just a management discipline which can be used in tandem with other process management techniques. It is not something which you can use in isolation, and it is not the only thing that should be used in the organization. So with these key concepts, we should also try to understand definitely what categories of points of failure are there in the name. In a process, usually there are three in nature. One is moments of truth. The other category is breakpoints. Other category is business rules. Let's quickly go through these each of them to understand what exactly it means to us. For example, in this scenario, there is always the moments of truth, which usually are the touch points at the customer side. Like for example, when a customer calls a vendor for a claim, that's a touch point which is called a moment of truth. So primarily there is moments of truth are the ones which actually causes work, and it triggers a relay of activities in an organization, which is the effect in an organization. So with this brief idea, let's see more about the moments of truth. They occur anywhere a customer touches a process. They can be person to person, person to system, systems to person, system to system, and person to product, any of them. One simple example is if suppose you are, suppose you are using an iPad. Every time you use or touch the iPad, that's a moment of truth. You're experiencing something related to the process. So any interaction with the customer is a moment of truth. So with these three lines of definition, we will have a better idea of what this moments of truth is about. And there can be any number of moments of truth in a particular customer's experience in a day. And let's look at breakpoints. Breakpoints are usually the ones which get triggered after every moment of truth, because they are a set of activities primarily which start in an organization and end within an organization. So let's see what are the other aspects of the breakpoint. Any internal interaction is a breakpoint. Any internal interaction is a breakpoint. Any place that a handoff occurs in the process is a breakpoint. And breakpoints can be person to person, person to system, system to person, or system to system. So with these three lines of definition, I think we get a better idea of what is a breakpoint. And there can be many, many breakpoints in a process. And more the breakpoints in the process, more the points of failure can be there in the process. Similarly, there are another category which is called business rules. Business rules is a point where a decision is taken. So primarily business rules are points within a process where decisions are made, and business rules can be operational, strategic, or it can be regulatory in nature, and they can be system based or manual. For a simple example is, suppose you have applied for a expense claim. Then in this case, primarily what happens is, if suppose this is a limit, as a manager I can approve only up to 5,000 rupees, but this claim has come for 10,000 rupees. There is a decision that need to be taken, whether I can approve or not, or whether I have to delegate this or escalate it to the right manager. So there is a lot of decisions like this that happen in a process. Those are all called business rules. More the business rules unclear in the process, more are the points of failure in the process. So these are the three major process diagnostics with the help of which usually the diagnosis can be carried on and looked at how the process efficiency can be improved. That means how you can avoid the unnecessary points of failure. All right, going to bottleneck number 3 is using internal customer concept usually, which is what is used on the floor, and then we see that this concept actually can blindfold you to actual customer needs. And when we say internal customer, conventionally processes are designed inside out, left to right, where customer typically is at the end of the chain. And this is essentially leading to internal customer concept, because the guy who is on the other end or in the middle of the process is never in touch with the customer, actual customer. So in the whole process, there is somebody in between dictates or commands what is needed. So this concept is dangerous as long as people are not making effort to know what exactly is the customer need. But the solution for this is to build the processes around the customer's needs. To build the processes around the customer's needs, addressing the single customer outcome is very, very imperative. But when we say a single customer outcome, we need to see, even if it is an existing process, we need to see what is the single customer outcome that can be, that is desired. And if we define it rightly, then all the activities, tasks, outputs, outcomes, everything falls in place and they can get engulfed according to or aligned according to the customer's outcome that is designed. For example, to give you an idea how this SEO can make a big difference, one example where there is, suppose, an airline. This airline is, say, their SEO, the existing SEO is, say, let's say, to help people fly. And when you say SEO is help people fly, then you would primarily take into consideration all the efficiency of the aeroplanes, the right timing of the operations of these aeroplanes, and then you see the utilization factors, you see how they are designed well, and all those kind of things. But if you come back and then do your homework and then say, yeah, it is not flying people, but it is helping people reach destination in comfort. So once you say redefine the single customer outcome as helping people reach destination in comfort, all your activities, tasks have to be revisited, and probably the new additional tasks will come in. For example, you may extend your process. Your process starts from the time somebody, say in an airline business, books his or her ticket, and how the next step is how he is able to check in. So single customer outcome helps processes being redefined, and we can bring in better efficiency. And bottleneck number 4 is we often concentrate on the way work moves step by step. But do not focus on how work gets done from person to person. So in this scenario, people actually move the work in the process. So, but then persona dimension, the persona dimension is totally neglected most of the times in the process management. Now, solution is simply to include a persona dimension into a process management. But how do you do that? The key concepts useful for this purpose is we need to identify and define different roles like process participant, supervisor, process analyst, process manager, process owner, process sponsor, etc. for each process. And additionally, those points which we discussed earlier, where role-based views and all reports based on each role have to be defined very clearly, and then even the approval limits or the access limits or the SLAs or the escalation matrix for each role have to be defined. This primarily helps bringing in the persona dimension, and it would make it a more comprehensive approach to the process management. And bottleneck number 5, processes are not aligned properly to business goals more often than not. And to do it, the solution is simply to align all the 3 categories of processes. And when we're talking about all categories, there are 3 categories. One is the primary processes, which are usually the core customer processes, which actually start from the customer and with the customer and directly involving delivering something to the customer. And these are the primary processes which are usually involving the delivery aspects. And second one is the support processes. Support processes are HR, finance, purchase. There are so many support processes which actually support these primary processes. And the third category is the management processes, where it is more to do with monitoring and control. For example, it's a regulatory compliance which is required. That becomes a management process. And if you have, say, goals, strategies set out for each and every business unit, for every department manager and everybody in the organization, reviewing that and then analyzing that, the whole process of strategic management process is also a management process. So when you have these kind of concepts, these kind of processes, the key concepts that will help you to actually implement this is you need to see that always primary processes and support processes are more aligned to customer outcomes, whereas the management processes need to be more aligned to the business mission, corporate goals, or statutory compliances kind of stuff. So this, I'm sure by this, it gives you a brief idea on how these three categories of processes differ from each other. And bottleneck number 6, the last one, the processes are often on paper or MS Word or Excel documents or hard-coded as part of the IT systems. Not really referable by a process worker, what exactly is the process, because if you do not have them seamlessly with you, then you are somewhere in the part of the, as part of the work at one point of the process, if you want to refer to something, then you are totally lost. So it is not easily referable by a process worker. Possible solutions: train people continuously to read the process documents, which is absolutely not a solution. Retain people forever, which is an impossible thing, because in this age, attrition levels, I think that is absolutely an impossible thing. Making IT departments report to process departments so that the process departments, whenever they're given a change, the IT departments listens to them and give them in time. So all these three things are good things to dream about. But the solution for this bottleneck is using dynamic visual process diagrams based approach, which means where primarily you can import a static workflow and give life to it by configuring the business rules and defining the roles and defining the people and such things, and deploy it in real time on existing IT systems. That makes it easier and makes the life very easy. And there is a lot of easy to use BPM tools at this point of time in the market that can really help you. They have ready to use smart objects, no coding involved at all, and easy for process manager or owner to change the process on the fly anytime. It is much more seamless way of working, and definitely a major helpful tool and a method for people to bring in better operational efficiency in the organization. Over to Shilpa.
Great, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Shekhar, for the wonderful presentation. I think you simplified a very complex topic and presented in a way that it was very easy and very interesting at the same time to learn about business process management. So we are now open for Q&A. I have a couple of questions here with me, but in case somebody still wants to ask any question, please feel free to type in your question in the chat window and send it across, and we will take up these questions as they come. So I think, and I was expecting this question, Shekhar, as you talked about, the tools aspect of it just towards the end. So the obvious question then is, so could you name, some of those tools that you've mentioned, which will help in creating those visual process diagrams, which are easy to understand, implement, and modify, within the organization?
Yeah, sure. There are, in fact, a whole lot of bouquet of tools in the market, and so for someone to pick one, it is not an easy choice. But I can just tell very broadly what are the two kind of category of tools available out there. One category of tools primarily are the kind of tools which are more customized towards document management aspects or content management aspects, and which are primarily have a very limited focus or limited application of BPM. And second category, they are usually referred to as leaders category in forestry research or those kind of reports. These are the ones which have good capability. They have much more additional features and than what the first category of tools that offer. And usually these tools offer additional things like case management, dynamic case management, like which is useful for situations where the process is not yet defined because it is a new project or a new process or a new product. So in that situation, when the process is not defined already and it is you need to build it as you go, the dynamic case management helps helps us to actually build the processes on the fly as we go. So, and then the third category of things which are high end in the market, which are the most expensive, but they are the most brilliant ones in the market, which can actually even help you out on the business process improvement aspects and all such things. So usually the BPM tools which generally people prefer is the second category of the lot. And unless until you have very specific need on the document management and you don't foresee anything great beyond that, then the first category of the tools would be applicable. But it is very difficult to say which is the right one, which is the not the right one, without understanding the business situation of a particular organization. And also depends on where they want to go, what's the future that they want to see, what is the priority that they have, the focus that they have. It all depends on those situations.
Very wonderfully answered, Shekhar. Thank you once again for that. And I think, yes, as you said, it all depends on, more so about where the organization is, and the same tool will not apply across to, across domains and across organizations. So, each organization, each individual need to be careful about picking the tool of, that suits their requirements. And nonetheless, if anybody wants any more information on the specific topic, please feel free to drop in a note at contact at LASSIB.org, and we would be glad to connect you with Shekhar for more information on this particular topic. I think I have not received any other questions so far. So with that, I would like to, thank all the attendees for joining, and of course, a very, very big thank you, Shekhar, for taking us through this wonderful presentation. It was an honor and pleasure to have hosted you on LASSIB. And for those of you who want to know more about LASSIB, as I said earlier, please visit lassib.org, and you saw the topic for the next webinar. A very, very interesting topic about systems thinking and interlinking it with Six Sigma, coming forward from a very, very senior personality in the industry, Mr. Gurbans Chitwal. So we look forward to hosting you next week at same time, Thursday. And till then, you have a great week.